Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Athletic Avenue. We'll go over some hilarious and mischievously brilliant ways players in the NFL broke the rules. So ignite that like button, share, subscribe, and honk on that notification bell to always cruise with us down the Athletic Avenue. Manipulating the wind. Would you use the wind to cheat? Well, former Buffalo Bills special teams coach John Stephen Moore did, just that he even admitted it in the early 1980s. In his book, Ineffective Habits of Financial Advisors, Moore explained that he would open the stadium doors, which would create a wind tunnel against his opponents. As the wind can blow pretty hard from Lake Erie, it would blow to the east, swoop over the left rim of the Buffalo's Ralph Wilson Stadium, down the field, and then back over some luxury suites. He further explained that this effect caused a modest impact on the outcome of a football game, allowing his team to have a great advantage just by opening those doors. However, he did comment that he was somewhat remorseful, especially with the New England punter, as the ball went right back to the punter after he kicked it. Terrell Owens got the pen ready. Players have read the rulebook and are quite aware that they shouldn't be on the field with hard accessories like watches, let alone sharp objects that could potentially puncture the skin, muscle, and even organs of their fellow counterparts. And in 2006, the league's owner voted 29-3 to ban the use of props and penalize players for these violations. However, in 2002, Terrell Owens was playing for the 49ers, scored a touchdown against the Seahawks, and got a huge applause from the crowd. The applause came to a huge roar when Owens took a Sharpie pen out of his sock and signed a football before he passed it to his financial advisor, who was cheering in the audience. His advisor said, "This was like a gift from God." A Sharpie brand manager told me after the game, Joyce Julius and Associates, a sponsorship evaluation firm, said the exposure to Sharpie was worth $500,000 to brand. Sharpie subsequently did a charity/endorsement deal with Owens. Antonio Brown twerking it up. Antonio Brown's backside managed to earn a 15-yard penalty for his team and a fine. His twerk debut cost him about $13,000, which is the standard for a first violation of unsportsmanlike conduct. This occurred during a Monday night game versus Washington. However, Antonio Brown has been hit with several big cash penalties for excessive celebrations and celebrations of sexual content. He was fined about $12,000 for humping the goalpost after scoring a punt return touchdown. Prior to that, he was fined almost $10,000 for hurdle kicking a punter's head, and he was also penalized for running backwards into the end zone to taunt his opponents, which again are all rules that are clearly stated in the NFL rulebooks. The theatrical Chad Johnson. And speaking of excessive dancing celebrations, Chad Johnson, aka Chad Ochocinco, of the Cincinnati Bengals made a trademark from excessive celebrations on the field, so much to the fact that onlookers anticipated his celebrations in the end zones. And he never let anyone down, except for once. 99% of the time, he had some amusing performance planned and executed. During his career, he choreographed a skit where he proposed marriage to a cheerleader. He dazzled the crowd and had people cheering with salsa and cha-cha dances. And he shocked everyone with a decent river dance, which he said was inspired by a poster he saw of the Lord of the Dance. A true entertainer, he's always wanted to dazzle the crowd, so he performed other interesting bits like having his way with the NFL camera, scooting the cameraman back, and literally having a go shooting footage wherever he desired. Some of his other antics include reviving the football as if its heartbeat just flatlined, and he even had a little game of mini golf in the end zone. He didn't just get down in a grand dance routine either. To celebrate Mexican heritage, he wore a poncho and sombrero, and he sported a suit jacket with large letters on the back announcing his entrance to the Hall of Fame. For those that thought his routines were too much, he could care less. Tom Brady. He might be considered in the top 5 runner-ups to be the greatest quarterback of all time, but he does have some controversy around undergoing borderline actions to be thought of as cheating. The first mishap was called Spygate. No, not Obama spying on Trump. The NFL Spygate was a scandal where the Patriots were illegally filming Jets coaching staff to decode their signals in a 2007 game. This episode resulted in a first-round pick loss, a $250,000 fine, plus a $500,000 fine on Bill Belichick. The other scandal was Deflategate that took place in 2015 during the Patriots' win over the Colts in the AFC Championship. Apparently, Brady would have the football deflated a bit to allow better grip and football motion. After the investigation, Tom Brady was suspended for 4 games and had to pay a $1 million fine. His team also took a hit, or shall we say 2 hits, as they lost a first and 4th round pick. In a big shock, Tom Brady recently moved to Tampa Bay, where he'll be playing for the Buccaneers. But the Buccaneers' new quarterback has already gotten busted for 2 incidents in Tampa Bay. First, he was written up for illegal entry of a park that was closed during the quarantine. And to add on to the matters, he also got caught trespassing at a man's house after making the big mistake of thinking the house belonged to Byron Leftwich, who happens to be the Bucs' offensive coordinator. Luckily for Brady, he wasn't penalized with any illegal charges from these 2 incidents. But his worries aren't over, and the case is not fully closed. Other NFL teams are seeking retribution since he broke NFL rules once again. As it has been set in NFL team agreements, players and coaches aren't allowed to talk shop, hold meetings, or even assemble to review playbooks and further strategize before the start of a team's offseason program. So Brady was clearly and perhaps deliberately violating NFL rules by going to Leftwich's house. According to CBS Sports NFL insider Jason La Canfora, other teams are aggrieved about the fact that Brady was able to meet with his offensive coordinator. Of course, their feelings are understandable, and the NFL postponed the offseason workout programs for every team this year. Originally, the start date for some teams was set for April 6, but that was delayed until April 20th due to the pandemic. According to the old rules, players could have gone to their practice facility when the offseason program started, but pandemic rules stipulate that everything was supposed to be done under this year's pandemic rules. Everything is supposed to be done remotely, so Brady could have a clear advantage over others if he was able to get his hands on the playbook or get a detailed face-to-face briefing from the offensive coordinator. These are just a few samples of some hilarious and shocking ways rules were broken in the NFL. In the comment section below, let us know what other stories of rule breakers that we should cover, and we'll make that part 2 of our compilation. We'll pick you up next time to cruise down the Athletic Avenue. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and honk on that notification bell. Until next time.